this neighborhood is always popping. And yeah, there's going to be a part in this video where I'm going to stop the accent. Okay, oh, you see my swatchy from the last video. Then I'm going to stop the accent because there's a little bit of a very serious topic that I have to talk about at one point in this video. I'll let you know what that is so you could decide if you want to stay and, just let you know that the accent's going to stop. But if you like my New York accent, you want more videos like this, I have some over on my Patreon already, so you can go check that out after this one. The link to sign up for my Patreon is down below. You hear me squawking? It's right down below me squawking in the description box, so you just scroll and boop, it's right there. You click the link, it'll take you over to Patreon where I have separate ASMR videos that are not on my YouTube channel, okay? Go check it out if you'd like. $5 to sign up. You get essentially an extra video a week over there from me, so love to have you a part of the family. I don't know what's going on with my Yeti, but it's like stuck. It doesn't wanna. I don't know how it got this tight. I don't know what happened over here. I don't know. It is what it is. Now, I think I'm gonna put on. Still got a little bit of lipstick on. I'll leave it alone. Okay, so where should we begin with this drama? I'm trying to think. Okay. I don't remember what I called everybody, but I'm just gonna call him by the first letter of the name, okay? So, P, the guy that I told ya, like, has a high-pitched voice and always arguing with his son. His son was in jail, right? That guy that likes his beer. Well, P met me and my mother out for dinner the other day, and P's very moody. You never kind of know if he wants to talk, if he doesn't want to talk. Sometimes he don't want to talk and he'll like barely even wave at you. Other times he's chatty catty and he's bringing food over and giving you like the world, buying my son toys. Well, P likes to go garbage picking too. He's a garbage picker, but not all the time. Only if he finds really good stuff in the garbage, when like some people want to get rid of like a quasi, there's nothing wrong with it. They can just go out of it. They don't have time to sell it on the internet, so they put it up for the garbage. P would go pick it up, and if it's something he thinks that like my son would like or whatever, my mother would like and come over and be like, hey, I got this for you. And it's like, how do you say no? Do you know what I mean? Even if it's something we didn't need or whatever, how do you be like, no? He's the kind of person that would get mad at you for saying no. So we just take it and, make use of it or give it to somebody else who might need it, whatever. But anyway, sidetracked. P, his son came home. Okay, well, let me tell you first. So we went out to eat for my mother's birthday a couple weeks back, and he met us out for dinner. Super nice guy. He always remembers your birthdays and wants to make you feel special kind of thing, right? So he met us out at this place, at this Italian place my mother wanted to go for her birthday, so that's where I took her. He met us out and bought my mother a drink, whatever. So while he's there, he tells us that his son is home from jail. And, while his son was in jail, they were getting along real good. He was telling us stories about how he would send him packages of, like, fish and can and, like, button-up shirts and hats. I was, like, looking for a certain kind of hat for him because he wanted to get it for his son. But the jails are real particular about what you wear, so it had to be a particular kind of hat. Anyway. So, he tells us that his son's home, and like I told you, before he went to jail, they didn't get along. They were always fighting, because I grew up with his son. So even before he was my mother's neighbor, son. Do you see what I'm saying there? And it's just a known fact. Everybody that knows the two of them know that they're too much alike, and they're always fighting, bigger, and they yell. So when they're together, they yell, and they're not just quietly fighting, they're yelling. They're both very loud, big personalities. Okay. So he tells us that, he made plans to pick up his son, because his son's still on parole, so he's got like a strict schedule of what he can and cannot do, right? So he tells us that he goes to pick up his son from his mother. So his son is living with his ex-wife. Okay, you're following along. So that's his ex-wife's house. It's his son's mother. So he goes. They make plans to go to dinner. He told them he wanted to go to Chinese buffet. So he was like, my son said he wanted to go to Chinese buffet. So I took him to a night. I want to take him to a nice Chinese buffet dinner. Just got home from jail. Want to eat good food, catch up, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So he drives to his ex-wife's house, and they are always fighting. They can't stand each other, right? And he already wasn't too keen about going, but he did for his son. So he drives there, and it's about a 45-minute drive. Well, half an hour, 45-minute drive. He gets there. Nobody's there. Nobody's there. So he calls. He's calling his son. Doesn't answer. Then he finally calls the ex-wife, and he's like, S, where's little P? And she's like, I don't know. He was supposed to be home, half an hour ago. He's like, well, I'm out here. I'm telling you, you guys, if you could hear this guy's voice, it doesn't matter what he talks about. It's just hysterical, and I can picture how mad he's getting, while he's telling the story. Inevitably, his son ended up being like an hour late, and he waited there for him the entire time. And then they got lost on the way to the Chinese buffet. By the time they got there, before they even pulled into the buffet, he had to drive his son back home because of his curfew for parole, so they never even got to eat. And they were just fighting. So funny, so funny. So he just came home, and they're already feuding. It didn't take very long. But he had a girlfriend. P had a girlfriend, and he was pretty serious with her. And we asked him, we haven't seen your girlfriend. What's going on with that? And he said, he still talks to her, but he kind of cut her off because things were getting too serious, and he doesn't like when stuff gets too serious. So he doesn't really have a girlfriend anymore, and he just, chills out in his backyard in his hammock and blasts his music, minds his business, smokes a little bit of reefer. Then there's S, the guy that lives directly next door to my mother, the truck driver. Well, he had that girlfriend. First he had the real young girlfriend that was addicted to stuff, not so good stuff. Well, she hasn't been around. She's long gone, because she was lingering for a while. Now she's long gone. And she used to mow the lawn and do like all the manly stuff around the house, whatever, like to each his own. But he never did it. He always made her do it, right? Well, okay. So, boom, she's gone. Then he gets this other girl, and she's like very country. Where we live is a city, right? She's very country-esque. He actually called her a country bumpkin. So he had his country bumpkin. She was much older than the first girl, Well, all of a sudden, poof, she's gone. And he meets all these girls on the internet, just like the online dating, whatever. So, like the first couple weeks of these relationships, he's buying them all this stuff, and they're coming home with bags and bags from the stores. And we'll see him outside, and he'll be like, oh, come over here, look at her gorgeous new necklace I bought her, right? Then a couple months go by, and all of a sudden she's moving out of the house. She's gone. So she was gone. Okay, she came and packed up her stuff, and she left. like a week or two later, he's got another girl over there. And you can always tell when there's a new girlfriend, my mother said, because they all listen to different music. So they'll be outside in the pool or whatever next door. And, the first one liked to listen to, R&B, things like that, rap music. Then the second one was very country-esque. Now the third one likes rock and roll, 90s rock and roll, 80s rock and roll. So my mother said you can always kind of tell that there's a new girl over there because everything, it all changes. But they all end up cutting the lawn for him. We don't know how he talks these girls into doing this stuff, but they cut the lawn and they plant flowers outside, make the house look nice. They make the house look nice and then move their lawn. So hopefully this one will last a little bit longer. We don't even know what the name is or anything yet, but we did see him moving his stuff in. So there's that update on S. And he's been kind of, not as talkative since he's got that girl. He hasn't been bothering my mother or anything like that, and my mother's pretty happy about it, to be honest. And then next door, the other guy next door, Jay, the one that was a little bit rude to his girl, and he still is. My mother will hear them fighting, and she'll just go in the house because she doesn't like to hear her be degraded, So, my mother will just go in the house and kind of block it out because she doesn't want to hear it. She doesn't want to be involved in that, But their awning, they got their backyard, done up real nice or whatever. And it looks very similar to the setup that my mother has. Not saying monkey see, monkey do, but monkey see, monkey do. They might have got a little inspiration from my mother, but that's fine. So, they got an awning or whatever on the back patio type thing. And there's a little robin's nest. And they got everything set up real nice for the robins. And we don't know if it's the same mother as a couple weeks ago, but there was a robin that made this beautiful nest up there, and she, was sitting on her babies, and her and the father would, come and chill and sit on the babies and whatever. Then the babies hatched and they left, right? They left for a week. Well, now there's another robin in there, and we don't know if it was a different robin, the same robin or what, but, he takes good care and he watches over because they got a dog, so he makes sure the dog doesn't go anywhere near over there, doesn't knock on the awning or anything like that. He makes sure it's protected. And so this new robin bird, just had her babies 2 days ago, and it's so cute because you can go in the backyard and you can see their little beaks opening, with the mother will sit on the birds and whatever, and then the mother will fly away. The father will wait until the mother gets back. It's so cute. And the little birds, as soon as the mother flies back into the nest, the bird's little beaks will open, and that's just so sweet. Then she'll start to teach them how to fly. It's really cute to watch. So that's going on over there, but like I said, he's been, still kind of being mean to her, and they were fighting over the dog. I guess she let the dog out, and she was in the middle of doing something in the backyard, and the dog wasn't obeying, so she was he kept yelling at the dog, and she must have got annoyed with it. It was why don't you just let the dog in the house then if he's not listening, instead of keep yelling at him. And he was started yelling at her and was you're the one that let the very that. Like, makes her pick up all the dog crap, makes her walk the dog. Like, he got the dog, it was his dog, their dog, but he doesn't do anything for the dog. And he says that the dog loves her more. It's like, obviously the dog loves her more. She does everything for the dog. Walking the dog, taking care of the dog. Like, the dog obviously knows that, and in turn is going to give her more love and attention. Like, come on now. But you're gonna be mad at the dog for it. It's just crazy. So that's kind of what's going on with him over there. And what else? So then we went swimming at Mr. B's house. We'll call him Mr. B. Now Mr. B lives further down the street. He's still a neighbor. He's lived there as long as my mother's lived there. My brother and his son were best friends. And unfortunately, his son, I won't go into them, but they were best friends when they were little. And because they were best friends, him and my mother got very close. Well, he's got a wife, he's happily married, but he's always had a crush on my mother. I swear my mother's like, the golden egg of the block. But he always had a crush on my mother and told my mother straight up. And my mother was seeing somebody a couple years back. She had a boyfriend for like 15 years, whatever. And Mr. B ended up leaving her a ton of love CDs, like on the rearview mirror of a car. What's it called? What can I think? Not the rearview mirror, the front window of your car. He left a ton of love CDs on the front window of her car, and it was anonymous. My mother never knew who it was. Months later, he made a slick remark like, "Oh, are you enjoying all your new CDs that somebody left you?" And that's when it hit. And he was like, admitted that it was him or whatever. But anyway, we went swimming at Mr. B's house, and it was really nice. I got lots of color. He's got a slide and a pool, in-ground pool, and whatever. Then I went to my dad's the next day and went swimming over there. He's got an in-ground pool at my dad's. But when we were at Mr. B's house, I had a white bathing suit on, and there were other neighbors there that we don't know too well, but they got two little boys, and Mr. B bought pizza red wings, and the one little boy whipped a barbecue wing at me, and it got all over my white top, and then I must have sat on it or something, and it got on my white bottoms, and it was just a hot mess. And he kept jumping in the pool and splashing us in the face. I'm like, alright, I gotta get out of here. But Mr. B lives right at the end of my mother's street, and there's a lot of wildlife at the end of my mother's street because there's a lot of field area and stuff like that. It's actually very beautiful. And you'll see, he has cameras all over the house, whatever, right? And all the time he'll show my mother, he'll send her photos. This year alone, there's been 14 raccoons that they got. And what they do is they get the raccoons and then they bring it to a wildlife preserve so that the raccoons can be put back into the wild, because even though there's the wildlife and stuff down there, and there are a lot of trees and things like that and brush and stuff, it's still in the city, and if they go the wrong way they can end up in the street and be hurt, and there's not ladies, look out for red flags in your relationships and things, you know. If somebody's acting different, you know, maybe address it to somebody in your family, somebody that you can confide in, because you just never know. So that was very scary and upsetting. But the neighbors that I told you moved away, that were super close with my mom, that were invited to their wedding, and the girl was having like a hat theme at her bridal shower, and just like weird stuff, but they found out that they are pregnant. They're having a little boy, little boy. So they postponed the wedding because they're having a baby, and I don't think that was planned. Obviously not, because they had the wedding booked, the venue booked, all of that. So they're going to doing the wedding so they can have the baby. But yeah, I think that's all the tea that I have for you about my mother's neighborhood. The ganja guy has been very low-key. And kind of just staying a little low-key, not bothering anybody, which is nice. Because we thought that the police were watching him for a long time, but nothing must have came of that. There was always weird cars parked all over the place on the street. And the one day, one of the neighbors went up to the car and knocked on the window. Actually, my son's godfather, he knocked on the window and was like, "Excuse me, can I ask what you're doing? You know, we keep seeing you on the street. I'm a homeowner on the street, and I want to know what you're doing here." And he was like, "I'm watching that house over there." And it was the ganja guy's house. So I didn't know whatever happened to came with that, but that was about a year ago, and you know, didn't seem like anything changed or anything like that. There's still cars that come in and out. I mean, allegedly. Everything in this video is alleged, okay? Alleged. Alright guys, thank you for watching. I always get my inspiration for my neighbor drama videos from Southern Sounds. Yes, Southern Sounds ASMR, Miss Mary. She was the first person I seen do the neighbor gossip